Whose words do you speak? Do you walk them well? Ask your heart, do you know who I am? Do you hear the child who wants to run with the wind? Do you hear the child who wants to run with the wind? Joy, do you know how it tastes? Do you know how you feel right here, right now? Ask your heart, where did I go? Can you find the child who wants to run with the wind? Can you find the child who wants to run with the wind? Take a glimpse of God along the horizon. Know that somewhere there's a place called home. Hear the message from the corridors of heaven and go running safely to the arms of the one you dance, let 'em know who you are. Wear your love on your sleeve and diamonds in your eyes. Tell your heart, I know who I am. You will hear the child who runs with the wind. You will be the child who runs with the wind. You will love the child who runs with the wind. Who runs with the wind.
Om Shanti, and good evening to all of you, and a warm welcome to Charlie, Brother Charlie from Australia. He's the national coordinator of Australia and has been since 1980 when he moved to Sydney. But prior to that, he had begun a search. He had always had a lifelong interest in philosophy and spirituality, and in the early 70s, traveled for 3 years across Asia, the Middle East, and Europe. meeting all kinds of religious figures, staying in religious organizations, Buddhist, Hindu, Muslim, and the various other religions of the area, Christian, Taoist. But it was in London in 1975 that he came across the Brahma Kumaris. I think at that time it was called the Raja Yoga Centre. Was it in London?
I think it was the Brahma Kumaris.
Was it? Yeah. And yeah. I just remember in Africa it being Raja Yoga Centre, Raja Yoga Meditation Centre. And Charlie then learned to meditate and went back to Australia in 1977 and opened a centre in Melbourne. And I think since then has visited many, many centres. We have him for only half an hour, as he will be joined by Moini Didi. So over to you, Charlie. Thank you.
So thank you so much, everyone, and thank you, Sister Shuna. It's lovely to be in Madhuban, isn't it? How lovely is it to be in this atmosphere together? And in my early days when we started, there was a saying, east or west, Madhuban is best. Who feels that? Unanimous. Who would like to live in Madhuban? Unanimous. Okay. So we do have the fortune of Moini Didi coming to join us in about half an hour or so. So I'd like to share a few thoughts and maybe a little reflection as well. And this season, the theme is revelation through harmonizing Sanskaras, which is a really beautiful theme. But I think we all know that that can only happen when I harmonize Sanskaras with me. Is that true? I think that's the first step. And I remember once Baba saying that there can only be unity when there's individual purity. That's very deep, isn't it? When us as a group, we all work on our individual purity, it creates that, probably one of the most special feelings of life when we resonate with others. We're just dancing in tune with each other. And I remember once Daddy Janki saying that there are three main obstacles in this journey of this life we have with Baba. The first that we all have to pass is the opinions of society. And for some of us that can be quite strong. In Australia, over all the years I've been with Baba, hundreds and hundreds have finished the course, and I've met them and they've said, oh, this is fantastic, this is what I want, this is my life, and you never see them again. Who's seen that? It's amazing because they go home and their families tell them, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that. So their fortune, that's their fortune. The second obstacle that Daddy talked about was the sanskaras of others. And this is an obstacle that each one of us has to deal with because we're at the end of the cycle. Every single human soul has a unique set of sanskaras. And ultimately, the more I progress spiritually, I can manage all different types and sets and uniqueness of others' sanskaras. But there are some who get so disturbed by the sanskaras of others, they spend almost their whole Brahman life just battling with one or two and cannot really get to that point where ultimately the truth of life is that I am responsible for how I feel. It's a fact. People are rude, people can be difficult, people can be this, people can be that. But ultimately, I am responsible for how I feel. But the third obstacle, Daddy said, was my Sanskaras. And I think that this is the real work of Brahman life, isn't it? Really, the real work of Brahman life is transformation at this deep level. And what is the real service of BKs? Personally, I feel it's transforming our Sanskaras. That's our real service. Baba needs a certain number of souls with pure Sanskaras to establish a new world. And I've often thought that many mics will come who will spread the message. But our part is to really do the work of creating a real level of purity in my Sanskaras. And when there's a number of us vibrating on that frequency in all corners of the world, that's when the real shift begins to happen. Some years ago, I was really working on being an observer. And I began to feel that one of the main things of someone, or signs of someone who's really absorbed Baba's truth, is I'll just begin to observe the drama, just like Baba. Baba is 100% the observer of everything. And I began to sort of break it down into three things. For the scenes of drama, to be a detached observer, just like Baba is. For others, a benevolent observer. I honestly believe that's the only method in my relationship with others, to be benevolent. This is Baba's instruction to us time and time and time again. But for the self, to be an honest observer. And I think that's a real sign of knowledge, a knowledgeful soul, isn't it? To see myself. How clearly, after all my years with Baba, can I really see myself? How objective am I? Can I see myself with a real sense of clarity? Or do I still sometimes look through a very distorted lens where I only see what's wrong, only see the negative, only see the mistakes? Or do I see myself through a very emotional lens? Or do I see myself through a very limited lens? I think that's fairly common, that Baba sees me as this unlimited world server, and I see myself in a very limited way. You know, how do I see myself? And I think one of the signs of a knowledgeful soul is to see the entire package of who I am with a clarity. So I know my strengths, I know my specialties, but I also know my weaknesses and my shortcomings. I know my capacity, because we all have a different capacity. Sometimes we live with some who have this incredible capacity to do so much, much more than I can. But in all of this, being able to accept myself as well, know what I can do well, but also what I can't do. This was a huge help for me in my journey, that, you know, there's some things I can do okay, but other things I'm not so good at, but others in the family can do them. So it's almost like I see the whole picture of who I am. And ours is a life of change. Really, ours is a life of transformation. This is our life in the confluence age. And if I really reflect on my Brahman life, what's given me the most happiness besides meeting Baba, those personal meetings, is really when something is genuinely shifted. You know, when something changes in you. And sometimes I feel for myself, and I think when I talk to most BKs, we feel we love Baba, we have faith in Baba, we follow the principles, we follow the Maryadas, I do service, I cooperate, but still some deep Sanskaras haven't shifted. Who feels that, can I say? Pretty unanimous again. I think that's how many of us do feel. And some years ago, when Baba was talking, there was one season, sometimes Baba would take up a theme. And one season, the whole theme was about transformation of sanskaras. And Baba was saying that sometimes they can be so strong, they can be so powerful. We all know this. But there's one thing that makes it possible to change. And that is the law, that beautiful spiritual law that says, if you take one step of courage, Baba will give 1,000 steps of help. And I wonder, when you hear that, do you think that's just something nice Baba says to us just to make us happy? To me, the courage is that honesty, that it is my sanskara, because often I feel there's a whole lot of reasons why I'm like this, or I still project. But when I have the honesty to say, yes, Baba, it is my sanskara, and I own it, and when I make a plan, and I begin to actually try to practice that plan, really try to put it into practice, and I keep that determination, like last Sunday's Morley. And I feel that if we just take that one sanskara that often affects my life, have a plan and work on it, I think Baba's help to shift something in me is enormous. After 10 years in Gyan, I had such a realization of how a lack of self-respect affects absolutely everything. My relationship with Baba, my relationship with myself, my relationship with the Divine Family, my health, absolutely everything. And I just took that, I had that one aim over a few years to really start to, make that effort, create a plan, and keep practicing to shift that sanskara, so that I don't feel a victim of my own sanskaras, but actually I start to really work on it and begin to shift. And in those Murlis, Baba talked a lot about sanskaras and nature, and they're deeply related. And to me, I think that sanskaras are like the seed, and nature is like the expression of the seed. And one image I have for my sanskaras is that they're like little packets of experience or emotions or feelings that sit on your memory track. So all my past is stored in these little packets that are stored on the memory track in the subconscious, the most amazing part of the spiritual anatomy. And in life, I come in front of a person and their vibration, their expression, their words trigger some of those little packages, and they open and they just spread into my mind. So they become my nature. The seed of the package opens and it flows into my mind. So I might have the seed of a little bit of anger, and so somebody's behavior opens that seed, and my nature expresses it as irritation or overreaction or whatever it may be. So sanskaras are like a seed, and nature is the expression of it. And sanskaras are latent, but nature is visible. In a way, many times the sanskaras can remain hidden for some time, but my nature is very visible. And I think this is my own understanding of it, but I find it really fascinating, because sometimes I've thought of relationships like an iceberg. Not that they're cold, but an iceberg, as you know, is 10% above the water. That's my nature. That's what people can see. That's what I show to the world. But the 90% under the water are my sanskaras. And when I initially meet somebody, I think mostly it's my, my nature that we get to know. But what happens in time when you get to know people, you live with people, that 90% begins to reveal itself. So the sanskaras come more into play. And I think we can create our nature. I think often my nature is a product of my culture, what's acceptable socially in my culture, what is acceptable in my family. These sort of things, even in the Brahmin family, I create a nature which is more what I present externally, but still my sanskaras can be more underneath the surface. For instance, if my seed sanskara is fear, my nature will be a bit nervous, a bit anxious, a bit timid, this sort of thing. If my seed sanskara is guilt, when it flows into my nature, I can feel heavy, burdened, sort of worried, that sort of feeling. Or if my seed sanskara is honest, my natural nature, my natural seed sanskara is to be honest, I think when it comes into my nature, I feel very light and cheerful. Or if my seed sanskara is anger, when it comes into my nature, I mightn't be angry verbally, but I can be a bit brooding and sulking and this sort of thing. So the nature is the expression of the recording in my subconscious. Even, self-respect. If my sanskara is of self-respect, I'll be very loving, very accepting, very humble. But if my sanskara is, the seed sanskara is lack of self-respect, I feel so easily unloved and excluded and those sorts of feelings. So they have this deep relationship. And my understanding is that the sanskaras change when I remember Baba, but the nature can change through understanding. I can understand how to express, but to really reprogram my nature, to my sanskaras, I really have to remember Baba. And often I think, when I remember Baba, and that, is at the heart of our life, when I connect and I'm influenced by Baba, who's incorporeal, egoless and viceless, the more I'm influenced by that and I move in that direction, almost automatically, the power of old sanskaras over me becomes less and less and less. And the more I step out of the powerful influence of sanskaras, there will be some, then the more I begin to harmonize with others, I would say, in almost a natural way. But we all know it's a real journey. We all know that. And I've often reflected on this, and there's no sort of set pattern. But sometimes I think there's like steps on the journey. And when we take birth with Baba, isn't that the greatest thing? We all remember the day that we realized Baba, realized who I am, realized my part in the cycle. There's nothing greater. And yet, we change almost overnight. My eating habits, my sleeping habits, my relationship habits, so many things change. Some quickly, some take a little bit of time. But that first layer of change is just habits. And habits are mainly based on this life. They're things that I've created in this life and this birth. And they can change quite quickly. And so we feel it's quite easy. I've often shared that when I started, it was 1975, and many felt that Vinash, destruction, was 1976. I had 1 year to become karmatit. And honestly, in my innocence, I thought, why not? I'm still here 50 years later, working at it. But, that's the beauty of the innocence of childhood. So that first step is really the change of habits. The second, I often feel, as we grow into Brahman life, all of us have obstacles, problems, challenges. It's a part, we have Gyan and yoga to deal with those things. And I often feel that the second step is dealing with my soft sanskars. They're the sort of sanskaras that have been recorded over the last few births. Things like seeing defects, impatience, intolerance, lying, but sort of twisting the truth, a whole range of things. And with effort and practice, I can start to feel myself shifting some of those things. But I think for many of us, and even though we can't say there's a formula for all of us, we can come to a point in our Brahman journey, which can be after a few years, 10 years, even more, where we have like a midlife crisis spiritually. And I think that, you know, we're traveling along, we love Baba, we're doing service, we're committed, but rubbish that I thought I'd changed years ago emerges again. And that can be very destabilizing. And sometimes that self-doubt kicks in. Can I really change? I've been a Brahmin for so many years. And then this old rubbish that I thought I'd shifted a long time ago. And sometimes because I've been practicing, it seems like it's worse than before, stronger than before. And it can be, you know, my anger, it can be ego, it can be lust, it can be dependence. It comes back quite strongly. And quite frankly, sometimes some move away from Baba at that point of time, think, oh my gosh, I've been a Brahmin for so long, and this stuff is still coming back. But what I feel personally is that when we start Brahman life, our bhakti sanskaras kick in, and that's sort of the sanskara to suppress. Because in bhakti, you know, we wanted to change, but we didn't know what sanskaras were. We didn't have a methodology. So I developed this, you know, this face for the world, my nature to the world, and my sanskaras underneath, which often I didn't want to show, because none of us want to show our impure sanskaras, our negative sanskaras. And so sometimes we come to Baba and we suppress a lot of the really deep stuff. We just push it down. And at some point, it emerges once again. Sometimes I think this is when the real Brahman life kicks in. And when I think that real honesty with myself and Baba, that I don't pretend to be something anymore. I say, Baba, yes, this is my stuff, and this is why I've come to this life. And in a way, my support of you creating a new world is really to clean this stuff up. But sometimes our reactions, I think, because we didn't really know how to change these very deep sanskaras, because there's the soft ones and there's the hard ones. Sometimes I think they've been recorded every birth, for 63 births. How deep are they? Some of them, we all know, some of the power of certain feelings. Intellectually, you want to change them, you want to be somewhere else, but sometimes the power of that force within yourself takes you in a different direction. So seeing these deep sanskaras, sometimes we suppress them, we push them down. Sometimes we deny them to myself. And it's a thing I've thought a lot about, how we've developed these mechanisms in bhakti just to not, because it's not pleasant to see my weakness. So I learn to just shut it out, that it doesn't really happen. And even sometimes I go to places and they give me feedback about myself, and I say, oh no, that's not true. And then I get the same feedback, I keep getting the same feedback. But I don't want to see it because we feel sensitive, and if we have lack of self-respect, it just makes me feel even a bit weaker sometimes. So sometimes we suppress, sometimes we deny, sometimes we even avoid, I think, where we construct a life where people or situations that make me feel really uncomfortable inside, I avoid them. And I tell myself I've changed, but actually I design my life not to face things which make me feel uncomfortable. Sometimes we even get on the front foot and we blame everybody else is the problem for me feeling this way. But ultimately, I think the incredible thing that Baba encourages in all of us is to have that power to face myself and have the courage to say, I have all these beautiful qualities, which we all do, but I also have these acquired stuff that I've collected along the way. And I would say that the great happiness is to free myself, from that set of sanskaras that really sometimes holds me back and holds me down. And to me, it's like we start as the child, we grow up in Brahman life, dealing with my soft sanskaras, the hard sanskaras erupt, and and that sort of midlife crisis. And then there's a beautiful maturity. I often see in some of Baba's old children a really sweet, something very sweet in their nature, that they've really had to face themselves and they've come out the other end, really. And to me, that maturity is you have a wisdom how to manage this journey of change. One is to have the aim. I know the aim, I'm going to become a pure soul, a deity. But equally, I need to manage the journey. How to manage that sometimes when just out of the blue, a deep sanskara kicks in and threatens my sense of self-respect or my sense of self-confidence or my sense of worthiness or whatever it may be. Do I still really overreact to that? Or do I just stand back as that observer and say, yes, this is a part of the journey. These things are going to emerge. And my part is really just to really apply knowledge, Gyan and yoga, and really just keep moving forward and keep moving forward. And I think that, this whole journey to be honest with myself about my sets of sanskaras, and honesty is not just seeing the weakness. I can't say I'm honest if I just see only what's wrong. Because often I need more honesty to even see the beauty in myself. Often we even deny that even more than my weakness sometimes too. But I see the whole picture and I keep my courage. I keep my courage because I feel that when we do that, but we get that sort of support. The 1,000 steps of help from Baba, when I honestly sit in front of Baba and say, yes, Baba, this is my sanskara, and yes, Baba, I have a plan, and this plan, I'm going to keep working at it until I chip away. My own experience was that deep sanskaras don't change quickly, and that's where it's just constant work. And when I was really on this journey of sort of really trying to understand and rebuild self-respect, because in a way, that's another way of describing this life, just rebuilding my sense of self. I began to just observe people or situations that triggered a feeling inside that wasn't so confident, or I didn't feel so good about myself, or, that you feel a bit, you've lost that sort of sense of self-value. And rather than just reacting and letting all those thoughts just flow through your mind, apply Gyan at that time. Really apply Gyan. Apply the truth that Baba has told us, that yes, we all have old sanskaras, storms will come. This, give a clarity. And at first you may only be a little bit successful. If you keep practicing, you get more and more and more until you start to develop the confidence, actually I can shift something so deep inside myself. Because sometimes I think that's the real work when Baba collects the Brahman family and we have the courage to shift on a level that's actually going to shift the whole world into a new future. So maybe if we can just have a little reflection for a few moments, and I'm going to ask the brothers if we can maybe have some meditation lights. Just for 3 or 4 or 5 minutes, you don't need to write anything, just a little meditation come reflection. Let me sit with Baba. In the subtle region. and look back at myself sitting in the chair in this hall. Just sitting with Baba. Look back at myself sitting in the chair and observe myself. Let my vision fall on all my goodness, my good Sanskaras. It may be my loving nature, my kindness, my accuracy, my ability to cooperate with others. Just be like Baba, the observer of my good Sanskaras. But in this observation, don't be impressed or influenced. Be a complete observer. Look deep, go deep. So many positive, divine sanskaras are there. And as I continue to sit with Baba in this state of the observer, let me fall on the weak sanskaras I've collected. It may be the habit to feel hopeless sometimes, to feel inferior, to feel rejected and not loved. But let me just observe. Don't feel bad. Don't feel heavy. Don't feel hopeless. Just observe. And in this observing, in this sweet but detached way, what do I feel is the main sanskara that holds me back, that stops me coming closer to Baba and my higher self? Reflect deeply, go deep. What is the one main sanskara that doesn't allow harmony in the self and therefore harmony with others? Remain the observer. Okay. So thank you, everyone. Moini Didi has arrived, so we will welcome her. So thanks, everyone. Om Shanti. Thank you.
We are not just fortunate, but it is our extreme fortune to have Sister Moini with us here today. Sister Moini has made this very special space in her calendar. She's busy, but she's specially made the space to come up to meet with all of Baba's children from the double foreign lands. And we are so grateful to Baba for this opportunity to have her so close. So we'll have class, yoga and drishti, and also very special blessings, toli and gifts from Moini Didi.
झलक तुम्हारी ओ प्यारे भगवन, पलक में भर के दिखा रहे हम, फलक से हम यही गा रहे, कराने वाला करा रहा है, करनहार हम किए जा रहे। झलक तुम्हारी ओ प्यारे भगवन, पलक में भर के दिखा रहे हम, फलक से हम यही गा रहे, कराने वाला करा रहा है, करनहार हम किए जा रहे, करनहार हम किए जा रहे। ओ झलक तुम्हारी ओ प्यारे भगवन। हाथों को वरदान हमारी रक्षा किए जा रहे, कराने वाला करा रहा है, करनहार हम किए जा रहे, करनहार हम किए जा रहे। झलक तुम्हारी ओ प्यारे भगवन। प्रसन्न प्रभु की पालना से तुम ही बने हो हमारे पालक। वाह जो है सारे जग का मालिक, हम उसके प्यारे बने हैं बालक। हुक्म ही हुक्म चला रहा है, हम सच्चे दिल से किए जा रहे। कराने वाला करा रहा है, करनहार हम किए जा रहे। करनहार हम किए जा रहे। हो झलक तुम्हारी ओ प्यारे भगवन।
Om Shanti. Om Shanti. Om Shanti. Everyone is okay? Yes? Very good. Happy to see Baba's so many children. It's like olden days, right? When in Gyan Sarovar, Harmony Hall was full. Same as today. It's very good. So what brings us to Madhuban? Before we knew that there was attraction of Baba's meeting. Now, what brings us here? What's your aim? Why you are here? You are thinking? Anyone wants to say something? Okay. Vibrations, atmosphere. Re-energize.
Rising my stage of soul consciousness. Rising my stage of soul consciousness. Or stabilizing or sustaining the stage of soul consciousness.
All Baba's children these days have the aim to be complete, to be full, to be like Baba. And when recently Baba said that you have to be revealed first, and then Baba will be revealed. Few things which I had been practicing, because practice is most important. Creating through practice, emerging through practice, transformation through practice. A few days ago I realized that when Baba says, remember me and your inheritance. Remember me and your inheritance. So what is the inheritance? What is the inheritance? Golden age? What is the inheritance? Knowledge. One inheritance, most important one, which is given even in the Laukiks. When we look at a child's habits or behavior or whatever child does, inheritance is of sanskars. When one day I was sitting and whole day, some churning, some practices we keep doing, and I said Baba's inheritance is Baba's sanskars. That is why when you get your first lesson, and the first thing when we learn to connect with Baba, so we use few words, I don't know, these days when you give course or not, say it that Baba is ocean of knowledge, Baba is ocean of love, Baba is ever pure, all the qualities of Baba. Now we want quick connection, right? Instant connection, without efforts. These days it does take some effort sometimes. Because I don't remind myself that if Baba, in Hindi they call ocean as sagar. So I am embodiment, Swarup. I am Swarup. Within a second, you could connect. I am embodiment, image of peace, of love, of knowledge. In path of bhakti, they said, I am the drop of the ocean. But in knowledge we say, I am also that Swarup. Take a minute and think, what are then your sanskars? Our sanskars are Baba's sanskars. So you feel within you that godliness, being child of God, those are my sanskars. Baba is the ocean and I am Swarup, image, embodiment. And as soon as you feel it, that closeness with Baba, this comes later, I belong to Baba, Baba is mine. But once this realization is there of my inheritance, I remember that when I came to Baba in knowledge or even in path of bhakti, there was this feeling of that each one of us whether a family or a clan or relationship, whatever, that I am like Baba, in the sense of as little child, and now big children, right? So my personality, my nature is godly, divine. And as much you can be in that awareness, in those feelings, then there won't be influence of your own sanskars. Lot of sanskars, situations, circumstances, all that has effect on us or influence of us. Knowing yourself and emerging again and again the sanskars which I have from my father, from Baba, from God. It feels so easy, so natural. Now, the effort is to maintain those sanskars. We call it awareness, we call it remembrance, call it connection with Baba. But the feelings are so good. I remember that when I came at that time, I am only on godly service, or I am godly family. We use a lot of this word. So to make it very natural and easy by remembrance all the time. It feels very natural, very easy. And now it comes to harmonizing sanskars or my sanskars. With whom am I harmonizing? With each one of you? Or with Baba? If I am harmonizing with Baba, you are harmonizing with Baba. Everyone is harmonizing with Baba. They show this. We call it a Ras Leela. No, they do Ras. One is dance, other is Ras. Ras is like very, very softly, similar kind of expression, movement. They show that when Sri Krishna is dancing, there are 10 gopis or devotees. And he takes 10 forms, same. So when I am harmonizing with Baba, and just this thought, my sanskars are Baba's sanskars. What emerges in us for each one is what we call as spiritual love. Everyone is child of Baba, everyone is soul. So there is very deep spiritual love for each other. And when there is spiritual love, then adjustment, tolerance, all these powers work very naturally. But when my sanskars are very strong, oh, I can't get along with this one, or argument is there, or any kind of disagreement or differences. We all are different, and we should stay different, right? To be different is good, but to have differences is not good. To have differences is not good. Recently, after a long time, in a Vyakti signal, it was Child Somastra. And I remember first time, it was in 1962, when Brahma Baba invited some of us. And that was like a first meeting. Before there never used to be meeting. But there were new kind of ideas. Ramesh Bhai talked about exhibition and seminar and workshop. So Baba was kind of, these are new things. Okay, you children do it. I will come and I will participate or see what you are doing. So we were 12 of us at that time. And we all were of different age group. I was 22 or something. So we all sat, had plans for maybe next year, or how do we increase service. Very few centers, very small family. So Didi Manmohini was at that time with Baba. Mama had left body. So Didi came after 3 hours or few hours. We all sat and were planning about service. And she said, be master and share openly. And then Brahma Baba came. So she said, but whatever Baba says, you all accept as children. So be master when you have to give ideas, and be a child when you have to do it. Then just one idea. Baba told us, and we all will agree, and we do it. No further discussion. It's a very beautiful practice. That day I was very kind of reminded of childhood, Brahmin life practice. Child so master, and master so child. Even in the Lokik way, when meetings are conducted, if you invite a professional, one who helps you to have the meetings, they say go wild in your ideas. Everyone just say, what would you like to see? At that time, Dadi Prakashmani was coming to New York. What would you want? And then when it comes to conclusion, we all have to agree so that there is a power. So professionally also, they teach us, but in a different way. So Baba, then after that second meeting was bigger, there were 50 of us. And then 50 means a lot of ideas, right? Different thinking but we applied when Baba came. We applied master while giving ideas and child while doing it in practical. Now, to change our sanskars or harmonize our sanskars, we have to practice some of these things so that we have very lovely and sweet relationship with everyone. One of the habit I created or my way of relationship, anyone who criticizes most or is very forceful or a leader who is more controlling, I will always maintain very lovely relationship with that soul. So one of them always says things and all that. She said, what I like is people tell me very nicely, can you do this or can you, talks to me nicely instead of criticizing. So her point was that I'm doing so much and those who do a lot, they are criticized, right? Went in front of Baba, gave this big bouquet, but why I couldn't take more drishti. Another, why I didn't get chance. So everyone says different thing. So the sister, she told me, we cannot give Baba bouquet for a long time because all the flowers, everything is wet. So if Baba has to hold for long, the water in that wetness will also go into Dadi Gulzar's sari or whatever. So I understood why they immediately take it. One is very heavy. Second, it's wet. Now, one who is giving or some people watching, why they take away like this? No? You saw a simple act. So it was seen like, oh, what authority this one have? Why can't we take more pictures when bouquet is given? It's a little act because I am hearing both sides. I am hearing those who have to manage that, and I am hearing also those who are giving. So I said, if you understand, there won't be disagreement, there won't be criticism. But yes, it's very good what's being done on both sides. So, one of the quality in relationship is be friendly, be very friendly with everyone, but especially those who have responsibility or any strong nature, strong habits. Right? Because we have to support that soul. Soul has responsibility, soul has lot to do, but our love will help the soul to also change the sanskars. Some find it more difficult than others about harmonizing sanskars. How many of you have difficulty? If you show hand, only I will see, so don't worry. Difficulty? Raise hands, it's all right. Difficulty. With your sanskar or other sanskar? Because we don't want you also to be disheartened. We want also you to be strong and keep making efforts. Because if suddenly you start blaming yourself, it's not good. Baba said a few days ago in Murli, you cannot blame anyone because it's everyone's part. Everyone is playing their part. So if I don't have to blame, but one of the quality is very important is understanding. Understanding each other. Because when you hear both sides, then you really smile. Because they both are right, they both are okay. I remember in one of the Murli, two Murlis, one, Baba said that either both are right or both are wrong. So I experimented because so many situations come to us. Are they both right or both wrong? And secondly, which I liked very much, and Murli Baba said, if you start noticing the sanskar of a student, that student will not be able to take sustenance from you. Because you are seeing that student, seeing the sanskar of that student. So that student, it's in your attitude, will not take benefit whatever you tell. Sometimes we might think, no, I'm telling so much and I'm saying it, but he's not listening. So then you have to check yourself, why? So actually, as love is important, second very important quality is respect. No one is big and small, no one is, all are Baba's children. Speak with respect. So love and respect are very important qualities. Anyone, it could be laborer, it could be, but you have to talk nicely, right? So some of the qualities we really practice with everyone can help us to, people start kind of, be talking of vibrations and atmosphere. The whole thing is of good feelings, good vibrations. So what I will suggest, one is practice my inheritance from God, are those sanskars. But then also, Baba had said about my eternal sanskars. And I love that practice because sometimes you need to be neutral, to be above. No, Baba says, detach observer. So you go beyond negative, positive, favorable, not favorable, less favorable. But you go beyond and say, because your mind and intellect are your main abilities. So the quality and the qualities of our thinking, quality and qualities. Same is power to discern, intellect is power to discern. They are two our main abilities. Whether you work as a consultant or whatever position you have, whether in a Lokik way or Lokik way, it's the quality of your thoughts. And also reasoning, the power to discern. Like I practice these eternal qualities, but also this avyakti signal, I practice a lot every day. And I feel that by churning and listening and doing practice, brings another dimension, equality in your thinking. Otherwise, same thinking as we used to think 10 years ago, 5 years ago. But actually every day it should become more pure, more divine, more useful, more quality. That my thoughts are now elevated, naturally elevated. Some of the practices even help you. You hear so many things. Bigger family means bigger issues and differences. But after they finish listening, you don't remember them. They don't bother you. You don't have concerns. You say, Baba, Baba drama. And you can go really beyond that. If you are getting more refined and pure and elevated, even our purity, we are victorious over Ravan, but not over Maya yet, right? We have conquered Ravan, but not Maya. And like today it was, or when there shouldn't be word Q, Y. If you have Y, Q, there will be queue of thoughts. That means a lot of wasteful thoughts. So this word Q in Hindi, it should stop. But why it happened? What's going on? So Baba said, no, when you have wasteful thoughts, and one of Baba's really hope in all of us is not to waste our thoughts. Each thought is valuable. Each thought can give sakash. Each thought can reach somewhere and do some big service. Our each thought is valuable. So why should they be wasted? Right? We take care of money, we take care of so many things, shouldn't be wasted. But what about the thoughts? So that is why Baba says, don't ask why. So practice internally God's sanskars. Secondly, my eternal sanskars. And these days also, how soon we want to go to golden age? How soon? Do we want to go, or Sangam Yoga is okay, right? But Sangam Yoga, confluence age to prepare, right? So, at our center or home or wherever you live, you practice today, whole day, you will create the atmosphere of golden age. We had been listening to Nirvar Bhai's class every day, little. And he says one time, we all should sit, and he's saying to sit in the garden, open, and everyone tells what you like in golden age, what will be in golden age, and create that golden age. Create those sanskars of golden age. So I think as much, one is churning of knowledge, right? But other is something by which we are creating divine sanskars, pure sanskars. So transformation of sanskar also takes time. But let me cultivate, let me create some new sanskars, new habits, new nature. And it is possible, but generally it does happen that those then stay with you. Now there is a contrast. I am in knowledge 65 years or 70 years. And those who stay with us might be 20 years, 25 years. So definitely there is a big gap in experience and practices and the stage. So every time I say, they say, oh, after 60 years we will be same. I said, you won't get 60 years. You have to do it now. So there is contrast in thinking, in ideas. But how do we just create harmony? Where we don't see the difference. You are in knowledge 50 years, this one is 15 years. Big contrast, right? But everyone won't get 50 years before golden age, right? Or if you want, that means it's delaying, right? We don't want to delay. We want to have it, right? I always say, at confluence age, we should have experience of golden age. This is the best few years of the life. God is with us. We are students and yogis, servers. So our experiences, our feelings, our family, our relationships should be of golden age, right? So some people, sanskars, This, it can't be changed. Somebody said, you can't change easily. And I feel, create new sanskars. No? Your thinking habit, your speaking habit, your attitude. So as much you create through these practices, you will find vast change in you. And others also then start appreciating or start thinking, let's harmonize. We have to inspire, right? By telling it doesn't work. So this topic of harmonizing sanskars, some of these practices can definitely help. One Baba had said that sweetness, we should be very sweet. It's a really good quality. And especially these days, even outside in the world, there is so much anger, subtle anger, gross anger, lot of anger. For little thing, they threaten each other. So much violence in the world, so much. Big wars, small wars, domestic wars, ethnical wars. And we are the ones who have been given the task to transform the world. And the slogan which we use is, self-transformation brings world transformation. So you should make it in a way, it's very easy, it can be done, so others can be inspired, right? Okay, you want to do drill of eternal, eternal godly sanskars, or so let's sit in silence with creating the thoughts of my inheritance. Just be nice, feel God so near to you, next to you. Dadi Janki always used to say, Baba is always around us. If not in front, at the back. If not at the back, on the side. But I have to feel Baba. No one can say or should say, Baba is not here. Teachings of Baba, practice of those teachings makes us feel the presence of Baba as guide, as father, as teacher, all relationships. So this invocation through remembrance, we feel the presence of Karan Karavanar, not only through intellect, but in real. It's Baba's task. So that we can remain very light, very light. So let us sit very relaxed, but still alert, right? Awake. and let go of everything from the past. Don't hold anything in your attitude towards anyone. This subtle purity of my mind, intellect, attitude will help me to emerge God's sanskars. The quality of ocean of knowledge. Knowledge brings understanding and wisdom. It increases the capacity to be consistent and stable. God is ocean of purity, ever pure. I am also embodiment of purity. Baba is ocean of love. I am also embodiment, image of love. Baba is ocean of peace. also peace of, I am peaceful, embodiment of peace. Baba is the ocean of bliss. Embodiment of bliss. Baba is the ocean of power, Almighty. I am also embodiment of power. So emerge these sanskars. It will become my nature, my thoughts, words and actions. Deep sanskars are these godly sanskars. Others have been acquired later on. This is what I am. A God's child. Om Shanti. Om Shanti.
So I'd like to invite up some of the senior sisters. So Moini Didi today spoke about the beautiful Ras, the dance of the